Welcome to Pie Guys Pick'em. It is the Thanksgiving special edition, and we have special guest Kowboy Keith who will be joining us in the next few minutes. It was a good week, with the exception of the best bet, and that was turnovers in the end zone will kill any over, and it was 5 interceptions in that game. And 2 of them, in the end zone for touchback. So instead of, 7 points or at least a good field position in the red zone, you get what we got: touchback and a long field. And the 49ers really were determined to run the football in that game. But the Browns, I was so bullish on the Browns. The rookie quarterback spooked me, but Vegas is horrible, and they can't be laying points. And we talked about that last week. Hopefully, I had quite a bit on the Browns. We'll talk about them more in the Friday show. The Friday show will still be happening immediately following the Bears-Eagles Black Friday game. Give or take 15-20 minutes to get set up. There will be Pie Guys Pick'em. For the rest of the slate, today we will be going over the 3 Thanksgiving games, and of course the 1 Black Friday game. And a lot of unders this week. Some low-scoring football, a lot of unders, a lot of underdogs cash, a lot of favorites won. It didn't cover the number. Seattle was a little bit, they probably should have covered it, but the Titans, they showed fight. They showed the desire to make that last touchdown. They really wanted that last touch, even though they weren't going to come back and win the game. So something to keep note of for next week. The Jets puppy didn't. It worked, but it didn't work. And it looks like Kowboy Keith is in the house. So let's get him on here. Kowboy Keith, how are you?
I'm so ice cold, I'm having soup.
It is cold in wherever Kowboy Keith is coming to us from. Even though
I mean betting wise.
Oh, well, he's on a cold streak. I'm further north than you, so and it's not that cold up here in northern Ontario. So
no, there's warmish today. It's been raining since about.
Yeah, it was raining here too, but it was like 3 degrees.
Couldn't get any yard work done.
Oh, what a shame. Any thoughts on last week or general league happenings?
The Panthers are retarded.
Yes, they are. The not running the ball on the 1 yard line, and then the 2 yard line at first and goal, right? When you have Rico Dowdle and you have Chuba Hubbard, and then Bryce Young can't throw that pick, and then they score the touchdown and they kick the extra point, and the Niners take a penalty for hitting the center, right, illegally, which was the right call, and so they get the ball at the 1, and again, instead of handing it to one of your really, really good running backs, they run some stupid pass play. It's not like the 49ers have a great defensive line. It's not very good.
How many picks did Brock Purdy have? He had 3 at least?
Yeah, Purdy had 3. Young had 2.
Yeah.
If you have 5 interceptions.
If you turn the ball over 3 times, if you got 3 interceptions, you should be winning that game.
Yeah, they had chances. I actually live bet them, and that was awful. But I mean, I'm watching the first half. I'm like, Brock Purdy looks off. Carolina's in this game still, and they've been a second half team all year, but they weren't in it in the second half. It was that was a horrible showing for the Panthers. A chance to take first place in the division, and they pull that nonsense. As we move along to Thanksgiving, 12:30. In Detroit, per usual. Will they win? They finally won one last year. I don't think they covered the number. No, they didn't cover the number, but they finally beat the Bears thanks to Matt Eberflus and his incompetence.
I remember that game.
Yes.
Or do I remember that game?
Yep, that was the wild one. Lions 2.5 point home favorites. The total 49.5. This is coming from 3, and I think it has to do with the injuries. Well, first of all, Detroit's offense doesn't look very good right now. But second of all, the injuries are starting to pile up for Detroit as we take a look here. Graham Glasgow, their very good center, has not practiced 2 straight days. Kirby Joseph still hasn't practiced. Khalif Raymond and Brock Wright haven't practiced. Now, you might be asking, who are Khalif Raymond and Brock Wright? Well, Khalif Raymond is the wide receiver 3, I believe, but he was their second receiver last week. And Brock Wright is their second string tight end, and Laporta's already out. So injuries on the offensive side of the ball for the Packers. Now, they might be getting cornerback Terrion Arnold back for this game. He's in concussion protocol, but he was limited 2 days in a row. So there's a chance he plays on Thursday because limited means you're near the end of the concussion protocol. On the other side, Green Bay, they a lot of limited participants, but it's kind of the guys who've been banged up: Nate Hobbs, Josh Jacobs, Matthew Golden. Nobody surprising. Jaden Reed practiced this week. I don't know if he's going to play. He's been hurt for a while.
Yeah, I heard Josh Jacobs is going to be back for Thursday.
Okay, so Cowboy Keith saying Josh Jacobs is going to be not that. The running backs don't matter. Emmanuel Wilson was completely fine on Sunday against the Vikings. He had 2 touchdowns. Somebody in the comments last week actually asked who to start, and I told them Emmanuel Wilson. And I hope they listened because he had a pretty good game. And then the big injury for the Packers, cornerback Keyshawn Nixon. He was limited today. He didn't practice on Monday. That's one of their key speedy cornerbacks. Packers might want him on the field. In terms of the game breakdown, the Packers, they played an overall solid game against Minnesota, but McCarthy was horrible again. Like, I don't know, you rostering an NFL team might have been enough to beat the Vikings on Sunday. But it was a solid game. They held the Vikings to 3.3 yards per play. The offense only had 4.4, but that's typical Packers really this season. They haven't really pushed the score or run up the score on teams. They're just happy to run the clock out and win the game when they have a lead. McCarthy had 52 net passing yards. The Packers had 146 yards on the ground without Josh Jacobs, and they were 7 of 14 on third down. The passing attack, wasn't really there, but I don't think it needed to be there. The passing attack's been actually pretty good. We look at the season numbers, 7 yards per play. And the receivers are getting healthy. You see Watson's back on the field. Golden, Watson and Golden I don't think have played together yet, or the Golden's been limited in the games that they have played together. So when they get those guys both on the field with Dobbs, with Wicks, you're starting to see the depth. They still miss Tucker Kraft, of course. I mentioned Nixon, the big injury. The Lions were outgained by the New York Giants. Giants had 517 yards of offense, net yards of offense, against the Lions' banged up secondary there, defense. 395 passing yards and 122 yards on the ground for the Giants. But the Lions did outgain them, 7.6 yards per play to 6.7 for the Giants. Of course, it was all Gibbs and St. Brown. I gave out the Gibbs props twice. I said to bet both of them, and they both hit easily. He had 264 yards from scrimmage, and Amon-Ra St. Brown had 149 yards from scrimmage, and the next highest guy was, like Khalif Raymond with 40. I think he had, and one of those was a 30-yard reception, and he's injured. Monty was a non-factor in that game. It was 10-0 Giants after the first quarter in that game. And it took a 59-yard field goal by Jake Bates just to send that game to overtime. If the Lions were healthy, this would be an easy bet. I think on Detroit here, but they're not. What do you think, Keith, here? Packers, Lions.
Yeah. It's a toss-up because I don't know who's going to win. You know how Jacobs is going to be coming out of concussion protocol. You have whatever the Lions are going through. It's going to be an under.
Yeah, that's what I have written down here. Under 49.5. I already bet it. The Packers are an under team right now, and the Lions' offense isn't working. And the Packers will probably... The Packers struggle against the run, but they don't give up that big play. They don't really give up that, like, that Gibbs... Now, Gibbs might get them, for one, but I feel like it's going to be a lot of 5-yard carries in this game. And the Packers offense, again, especially if the Packers are leading, doesn't really do much.
Yeah, they're going to park the bus.
Yeah, and it was 24-12 in the first meeting. And this isn't the Ben Johnson Lions from last year. And it's obvious. Like last year, I remember 2 years ago, these two teams played on Thanksgiving. It was a dead nuts over. But that was Green Bay with a big lead in Detroit coming from behind, and Detroit's offense was better. Detroit's offense is banged up. There are injuries all over the offensive line. You're down to, like I said, it could be a good St. Brown day. He could have a good game again, and Gibbs could have a good game again. But that's basically the offense right now. And the Green Bay defense is pretty good. And Green Bay is, again, they're slow. They matriculate their way down the field. I don't really see, like, Watson is back, so you could there's some concern that he could open up the passing game. But the Lions' pass rush has been pretty good. So I think it's going to be a lot of quick outs, quick slant routes to the outside to, Bo Melton and Romeo Doubs and the running backs. I don't think you're going to see the too many shots down the field for Watson.
The Packers are going to have long drives.
Yeah, I think long drives. And we know the Packers, now they were going for fourth down a lot earlier in the season. But at the same time, I actually like the fourth down defense of both teams. So even if they go for fourth downs, I think that, like, the Lions' strength is up front with Aiden Hutchinson and Ali McNeil and those guys up front there. They're weak at the back. So if you're running a 4th and 1, if it's not a trick play, they're just like running up the middle. I think Lions can stuff them. And on the other side, the Green Bay Packers, I think they can stuff them too on 4th down. I expect the Lions to run on 4th down. Then those weird ones the Lions do where they end up throwing, like they were 0 for 5 on 4th down a few weeks ago. So maybe the regression happens and they convert on their 4th downs here. But like this 49.5, I thought was too high. The way Green Bay's playing and the way Detroit's offense is struggling, I feel like it's got to be an under here.
Detroit really misses Laporta, don't they?
They miss Laporta. They miss Ben Johnson. Everybody's banged up. It's just Gibbs and St. Brown are healthy, but after how much can they do? Yeah, exactly. And how much can they do? Like they barely beat the Giants last week. Now it could have been a little bit of a look ahead spot. But they were off a loss. Like the Lions off a loss don't lay an egg like that.
Yeah, but I actually had the Lions as survivors, so that's why it was a struggle.
Yeah, exactly. They came back for you. Gibbs. You can thank Gibbs. It was Gibbs. Gibbs all day. And that play by obviously Jameis Winston breaking a tackle on a catch was fantastic. That play of the year, a lot of people are saying. We'll see about that.
It's a typical Jameis Winston game. 1 interception, 1 touchdown pass, 1 catch.
Yeah, the touchdown reception, exactly. Jameis Winston is so much fun. These bad teams, if you're going to be a bad team in the NFL, just go sign him. At least people will watch your games, right?
People pay to watch him play, yeah.
Exactly, right? He's going to draw fans. He's more fun than Justin Fields can be fun, but I mean, Tyrod Taylor is starting. Who else is starting? Russell Wilson, like, come on, like
Jackson Dart.
Well, Jackson Dart's fun, but you're
mainly watching Jackson Dart for his mom. But.
Yeah, maybe the Dolphins should go sign Winston next year. Be our backup quarterback, because we know Tua has been healthy all season, so that means he's probably gonna get hurt next year. All right, let's move to under. By the way, in that game, official play for both me and Cowboy Keith here. All right, we move along. Chiefs, Cowboys. Cowboys, again, for the second week in a row, are 3-point home dogs to a team who went to the Super Bowl last year. They were able to come back last week. Both teams were. A total here is 52 and a half. Now, I looked at this under. I thought about it. But I am concerned. The Chiefs had 449 net yards of offense last week. They only had 5.4 yards per play to the Colts 5.1. They had 33 first downs. They held Jonathan Taylor to 58 yards. They're starting to come around a little bit, and I'm worried they could get going. I think Patrick Mahomes can pick apart. I know the Dallas defense is better. But Patrick Mahomes can pick apart this defense. Rashee Rice is back. Now, Worthy and Rice were limited earlier this week. I'm going to check the update on that. But I am concerned that the Chiefs get the offense going in this game, which I actually I don't know what to play in this game because at the same time, I don't want to bet against Dallas right now. Dallas has won 2 in a row. They're at home. They didn't have to travel for this game. It's on a short week, or they were at home against Philly. It's another big win. They're back at 500. All of a sudden, the Packers are playing the line. Somebody has to lose, and that means the Cowboys can gain a game on one of those teams they're chasing in the playoff race. They're back in the playoff race. Came back from 21 down. Defense is much improved. Now, offensive tackle Tyler Guyton looks like he's not going to play in this game for Dallas, and that's an issue. But if you remember earlier in the season, they had some linemen down, and the backups played pretty well, and I think that's Dak. Dak is playing ridiculous. He's been playing ridiculous all season. He's been fantastic. I know there was some turnovers last week, but it's a Philadelphia.
Dak would be my MVP pick, but someone else has overtaken that now.
Yeah. On the Kansas,
2 people have overtaken that.
Sorry,
2 people have overtaken Dax now.
In MVP?
Yeah.
Well, Drake May.
And Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford's a favorite, I think. The Rams look like the best team in the league. Now, this is typical Tampa, midseason Tampa yesterday. That's not going to be Tampa in the playoffs, but they beat the tar out of them. On the Chiefs injury side, sorry?
Baker is banged up, right?
Oh yeah, I think he's gonna play. We'll talk more about that on Friday. But
I've heard he's gonna play.
Yeah, it's Baker Mayfield. I mean, he calls his own number, and if he can walk, he's gonna play and throw a football. Trey Smith has an ankle injury. Guard for the Chiefs. He didn't practice yesterday or today, and Noah Gray's in concussion protocol. He's not gonna play. Pacheco might be back. I think he will be back. Yeah, because he practiced fully 2 days in a row. So it looks like Pacheco will be back for this one. I don't know. You have offensive linemen down on both sides, which usually, says under, but I'm worried this is the shootout of the day. What do you think?
I do have a concern about the Cowboys. They beat Philly. They're huge division rival. Last week, they're down 21-0. They won a last-minute kick by Aubrey. I feel like it could be another Dallas Cowboys letdown.
Yes, but at the same time, the Chiefs were also down in a game where they were basically eliminated if they lost. Not mathematically, but same thing. They were down.
In big games, who do you have more faith in, Patrick Mahomes or Dak Prescott? Historically,
I was going to say more. Oh, we lost Cowboy Keith. He is cut out. We'll see if we can get him back here. I'll take him off the screen there. But historically, yes, obviously Patrick Mahomes is the answer Cowboy Keith was looking for. So, yeah, 2 defenses that look pretty good on Sunday. Like I said, the Chiefs held Taylor in check. After the first little bit, the Cowboys allowed 0 points after the initial 21, which was, I think, sometime the second quarter. And, you could argue the under here. I wouldn't take anybody off the under. I think it's too high. But the Spidey sense says the offense is going to work here. Rashee Rice had 141 yards. Hunt had 104. 30 carries for Kareem Hunt with 104 yards total on the ground there. But I think it's going to be I could see a high-scoring game. I'm not sold on this one going under. It's also Dallas. That's I don't know. Maybe I have this bias of Cowboys games just flying over the total because that's what they do. But yeah, it's the Dallas Cowboys. In terms of the side, I can make a case for either team. So I'm passing on this game. If I had to make a bet, I'd bet the under, but I just the Spidey sense says that this one is going over the total. I'm just gonna message Cowboy Keith here, see what he's doing with his connection issues. It looks like he has lost internet. So Cowboy Keith has lost internet. Oh no, it happens, technical difficulties. But I will move along here. Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens. Ravens 7-point home favorites. The total is 52 and a half. Another high total in my opinion. Like a lot of unders last week. Maybe this is recency bias. I'm staying off the Dallas one. That one the Cowboys game I could like, especially if it's like a fun game, I could see playing a live bet in that one where you kind of see where the momentum's going. Both teams, like Kansas City's more poised, but if Dallas really gets momentum, they could run them down. Ravens 7-point home favorite, total 52 and a half, as I mentioned. Bengals covered the spread. They put up a good effort, good fight against the Patriots. I laid it with the Patriots. I got 6.5. I got a good number too, and I thought it was good. And they won by 6. They was by the hook, but the Bengals. It was a pick 6 in that game that helped them cover, but the defense gave a good effort. The coaches, they were happy with the defensive effort after the game, so to trying to reinflate. But Zach Taylor was pissed off at another loss, and he could tell on his comments he's on the hot seat right now. But of course, Joe Burrow expected to play in this game. Jamar Chase back from his 1-game suspension. T. Higgins, though, is in concussion protocol, and that is a concern because, like, the odds of clearing concussion protocol in in what is this, 4 days, highly unlikely. It's been done, but highly unlikely. So we'll see what we get there. On the Ravens side, the Ravens continue to be priced as Lamar is playing like an MVP. He's not. Oh, Cowboy Keith is back. I'll just get him in here. There he is. Oh, he's on his phone, his laptop that he bought at Value Village. Lost connection.
It was Best Buy, and I was at Value Village today. I was dropping stuff off.
Okay, well, fair enough. I found the best jacket ever at Value Village, so that's fine. So Trey Hendrickson and T. Higgins probably not going to play. Burrow and Chase back for the Bengals.
Higgins is out confirmed. I got that notification yesterday.
Okay, so he was in concussion protocol. I've seen it happen once where they've cleared on a short week. It was Brock Purdy, and the 49ers have a history of kind of what?
Fudging.
Yeah, messing with the rules, ignoring the rules, cheating. So I'm not surprised at that. So the Ravens won an unimpressively 23-10 over the New York Jets. The Ravens were outgained by the Jets, 4.9 to 4.2 yards per play. The Ravens having 4.2. The Jets turnovers, 2 turnovers, 81 penalty yards. The Ravens took advantage. The offense didn't look good at all, right? Derrick Henry had mediocre numbers. Lamar Jackson had mediocre numbers. And Lamar Jackson is hurt. Now, first it was his knee, then it was his ankle, now it's his toe. He's got injuries all across his lower extremities. I don't know how much he's going to run here.
Toes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Lamar Jackson injury report right now. Kyle Hamilton Didn't practice, but there's rumors he might play. I'll have to see about that. But this defense is Keith. Your whatever you're using is echoing there.
Is that better?
Yes. Okay, thank you. So the defense for the Ravens is playing really well. The offense, a little bit stuck in mud. No, it's still echoing, Keith. The offense is stuck in mud. The Bengals defense showing good effort, but mild improvements. But it's still the Bengals defense. So, yeah. Keith, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Over.
Over? Really? Why?
Well, the Ravens are due for an offensive output.
Okay, it is the right opponent for that.
And the Bengals can't stop anything.
Well, they did stop the Patriots a little bit last week. They scored a pick six. They held them to 26 points. So when you take away the pick six, they held them to less than 20. So some improvement. I like the under. I already bet the under in this game. I think 52.5 is too much. The Ravens offense isn't working right now. But you're saying they're due, and they could be due for an outbreak, but I'm just going to mute you while I'm talking so I don't hear the echo, but I'll unmute you in a minute. And I bet the Bengals +7 here. So I have half a unit on the under, half a unit on Bengals +7. This is their Super Bowl. It's Thanksgiving. It's a standalone night game. They're 3-8. They're not making the play. They could still win the division. I understand they're 3 games back. They have to win this game. Okay, this is the biggest game left on their schedule, and they don't like the Ravens. And Joe Burrow's back. Jamar Chase is there. I think they can score enough here to keep up, and the Ravens' offense just isn't doing it for me. Any thoughts, Keith?
I mean, the Ravens are due. I do like the Ravens -7 though.
Oh, so Keith and I are opposite here. So he likes the Ravens, and I like the over, and I like the Bengals and the under. So maybe they're correlated a little bit. Maybe if the Bengals win this game, it goes under, or cover the number, it goes under. If the Ravens win, it goes. I could see that. Where if the Ravens just score a bunch of points, they win and cover. But if the offense doesn't work again, the Bengals probably hang around now that Joe Burrow's back in the fold. So maybe a little bit correlated there if you want to make a parlay. So Keith and I on opposite sides, and a little interesting here. But yeah, it's not my favorite bet, but I think it's the spot where you get the defense played well last week, or not well, but good effort. They played all right.
The Bengals are going to do.
I think they can carry it over. Sorry,
the Bengals are going to do Bengal things.
Oh, I remember the Ravens have won 5 in a row, so this could be now it's a short week. I could see them, being a little, because they were like right, they're 1-5. Everything's must win. Now Pittsburgh's losing. Okay, Joe Burrow's back with the Bengals are 3-8. The Browns are starting a rookie quarterback. Yeah, okay, they won a game, but they beat Vegas. It's like a bye week. So
when the Ravens were 1-5, they were still favored to win the division.
Yeah, because the Steelers. All right, let's get to the main event here, because we all know what I'm betting. Okay, I bet against one team for like the last forever weeks. I bet on the other team. Oh, hold on, I muted you. Go ahead.
Do I have to be here for this?
Why? Do you have somewhere to go?
I just don't want to hear you talk about the Bears.
Oh, now I'm going to make you stay. All right, I'm going to mute you, so you have to listen to me. So the Chicago Bears. Oh, there's Coco. The Chicago Bears are 8-2 or 8-3, I believe. First place in the NFC North. Meanwhile, the other team is first place in their division, but in my opinion, probably like they're on fraud alerts. I'm going to explain to you. This is not just we're going to keep betting the Bears spot. This is Philly might be starting to come back down to earth here. And okay, the Bears bandwagon rolls on. I already cashed over 7.5 wins. The over 8.5 is likely going to cash. I need one more win. I bet them both. Obviously, the plus money at the over 8.5. Caleb Williams is playing great. The offensive line is playing great. The defense continues to force turnovers. As long as the defense is forcing turnovers, I want to be on the Bears. The betting markets refuse to respect them. 7-point underdogs, despite being 8-3, first place in their division. I know they beat the Steelers. The Steelers aren't a bad team. It's a half decent team. Now the concern here is the Bears have allowed some running attacks. They've allowed 186 yards on the ground last week to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They fumbled the ball twice. There was some Yinzer magic at play last week, but Caleb Williams still hasn't thrown a pick in a long time, so that's good to see that. The Bears, I'm just gonna until they lose or don't. I mean, I pushed last week. If you got the 2.5, you won. You didn't lose if you bet the Bears last week. Could this be, the 7 here? The Sharps are probably going to bet the Eagles here. They hate the Bears right now. They think the Bears, are fraudulent. It's all turnover, this, that, and the other. And I understand that. At some point, the bandwagon is going to stop, and Chicago's going to have some adversity here. But right now, I'm betting the Bears as long as they keep forcing turnovers and the way the offense is playing. And this is the matchup that I wanted to see last year. The Ben Johnson offense against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. We never got that matchup because the Lions got blown out by the Commanders in the divisional round of the playoffs. So I want to see what Philly's defense does against this offense because they've never really faced it. Remember, the Lions never played Philly when they had that, that nasty hot offense. Now we get to see, obviously it's not as good as the Lions were last couple of years, but it's still a Ben Johnson offense and it's still scoring points right now. And I don't know if the Eagles even, there's lots of film on it, but the Eagles defense hasn't really played with Vic Fangio this Ben Johnson offense. So I think there's a little bit of an edge there. On top of that, go look at this Philadelphia Eagles injury report and both safeties, starting safeties, Andrew Mukaba, he's done. He's having surgery on his ankle. And then Reed Blankenship left the game against Dallas. He didn't return. He could be out today. That leaves their only healthy safety, Sidney Brown, and he's been not very good this season. And, you get out to a 21-0 lead against the Dallas Cowboys. You blow it. Don't score another point. The Eagles offense has been invisible in the second half of games. I had the team total under 25.5 in that game, and it was 21-0 in the second quarter, and I cashed it. And it was fairly easy because they did nothing in the second half. They had a missed field goal. So I didn't want to bet the Cowboys. I missed them. Oh, Keith has left the building. I guess he didn't want to listen to me talk about the Bears for another 10 minutes. But essentially, Barkley was held to 22 yards rushing last week. So yeah, the Bears are giving us rushing yards, but the Eagles' rush offense isn't working. And remember, this team had this. Oh, Kowboy Keith is back here. I'll just add him to the stage. So I was just getting into it about the scheduling spot here. But before I get into that, Keith, you have thoughts on this game?
I mean, it's probably going to be the best game of the four before Sunday.
Yeah. Are you laying 7?
I'm still thinking.
Okay, you're thinking about it. All right. I need your help on this game. Okay. So obviously I've already bet the Bears +7. I bet it right away. I said this will give me 7 with this team. And I bet the Eagles team total under again. It's still 26.5. They still haven't scored more than 24 points since the bye. I forget who they scored 24. I can't remember, but they still haven't scored more than 24 points since the bye. Now, this same scheduling situation happened in 2023. The Eagles came off the bye, And they had this, and they were winning these games where the offense was working, the defense wasn't. This year it's been the reverse. The defense is working, the offense isn't really working. It's been okay in spots. They came off the bye. They played Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco, Dallas, right? 4 pretty good teams really good teams in 2023. This year, they played Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago. Okay. With Dallas being the weakest of the 4 2 years ago, Chicago being the weakest of the 4, arguably with Dallas this time around. They won the first 2 against Buffalo and KC. They shouldn't have won, right? They get killed by San Francisco, and then they go to Dallas and they lose to that one. And their season went off the rails there. They lost to like a bad Cardinals team after that. They lost some awful teams after that because they were winning. You know, the powder keg exploded. And this team doesn't like each other. The players don't like each other. Now you lost the game to your arch rivals, the Dallas Cowboys, team you hate, you despise. And then you get a home game in Chicago. And I tell you right now, if this starts to go bad, it's going to get ugly in that stadium. You're going to hear boos. It's going to be, it's coming. This crowd can be the best home field advantage at a night game of the playoffs. Philly's the toughest place to play, but they can also turn on you. And I can really see it where this Eagles season follows the same pattern. I even looked at Dallas to win the division, but it's 30-1. But at that point, like, you might as well just bet Cowboys money line and betting against the Eagles every week. You probably make more money. But I am on the Bears +7, and I am on the team total under 26.5 for the Eagles. And Keith, how much money am I going to put on the Bears money line in terms of like percentage units?
2 units.
Really? 2 units on the Bears money line.
Yes.
You think the Eagles going to lose?
I just know that you're going to do it anyways.
Well, I'm not going to put more than I'm going to put more on the spread. I already have the spread. I already have the team total under. I don't need 2 units.
How much money are you putting on Jet Greaves tomorrow night?
Well, it's not in Toronto. Jet Greaves, the goalie for the Columbus Blue Jackets, of course, playing Toronto. It's not in Toronto. He plays better in Toronto because he's from.
How much money did you put on Jet Greaves? Was it last week or the week before they played in Toronto?
None, and I made a big mistake.
But you thought about it.
I did think about it. So Keith, so you're saying I should just go balls to the walls in this Bears money line? You like the spot here, and
well, it's you.
Okay, how much money are you going to put on the Bears?
We'll see.
Okay, would you bet Philly?
No.
Okay, yeah. I agree with that. This 7 is too big, so I feel like win this game. You know, the Bears fumble, the rushing attack works, but Philly blowing out a good team, you know, I don't see it. I mean, even like they dominated the game against Detroit, and the Lions, you know, they only lost by 7 still. Like, that was complete domination. The offense just doesn't score. So, yeah, team total under, Bears +7, and I will have probably half a unit on the Bears money line, because half a unit wins like over a unit. So,
and just remember that Lions game, they probably only won because they had that phantom PI call in the fourth quarter.
Yes, that too. Yeah, like it's been bad. Like, at 21-0, like that's an awful, terrible loss. The Bears are confident as can be, and Caleb Williams didn't even play that great last week in the first time. He had a quote where it was like, "Yeah, I didn't play that good, but we didn't, you know, we weren't rattled by it. We just stuck to the plan, and they came back to win." And I could see the Eagles doing the same thing they did last week, taking a 7-point lead, 10-point lead, even maybe 14-point lead. I don't think the Bears are going to crumble here. I think the Bears are going to stick with it. And I think the Bears are going to come back and make this one close if that happens. And if the Bears come out to a strong lead, it might be curtains for Philly. But the counterplay to that is that if the Bears do come into the lead, Philly might actually throw the football for once. So, but they were throwing the football last week and it didn't matter. So Yeah, Bears +7, and obviously that is the best bet. I mean, for me, Keith, do you have a best bet for the
Can
show?
I go now?
Yes, but do you have a best bet?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks to Cowboy Keith for coming on. My best bet, of course, Bears +7. Friday. Friday show will be after the Bears Eagles game, hopefully with a Bears victory. And Cal, I might place some more on the spread. Right now it's 1 unit. I might put another half unit on the spread and put. I have the team total under with Philly. It could like I feel like there's trap games where it's like, oh yeah, this is the step up, and this team that's been running hot, and the line's not moving, but we're seeing 6.5 pop up here. The Eagles injuries, is the situation after the bye similar to 2 years ago where they lost the Super Bowl the previous year. It smells like the Eagles could be in big trouble here. If they lose this game to Chicago on Friday, I think they are a fade up. They could lose to some bad teams. We saw this 2 years ago. This could be parallel. And I don't trust this group, but the group is very talented. So if they play their A game, the Bears are going to be in tough. It's going to be tough, but I like the Bears here to keep riding the train and fading Philly. I finally got one on them last week. Try it again, and the Bears are one of the teams I've been betting all season. I've been high on. So again, best bet Chicago +7. I'll have some money line. I might have more than a unit on the +7, and I'll have a unit on the team total. And I already bet that. All right, thank you for watching. Happy Thanksgiving to those in the United States. Happy Thanksgiving from Cowboy Keith. And I'll see you on Friday after the football game to break down the rest of the NFL Week 13 card. Already Week 13, the playoffs are around the corner. Games are getting good. So tune into Pie Guys Pick'em for some action. And I'll see you all on Friday for another edition of Pie Guys Pick'em. Goodbye.